hear that, it scares you to death, because these are the kind of things that are an anomaly, but nevertheless are incredibly possible. And so, when you hear about this, anything we've heard about Bronny James, we're thinking about an All-American. We're thinking about somebody that obviously has aspirations of being in the NBA. We've heard the great Lebron James allude to wanting to play. His dream is to play in the NBA with his son, et cetera, et cetera. And all of that gets thrown to the wayside.
It has just recently been reported that Bronny James, the son of NBA legend LeBron James, had just suffered cardiac arrest during basketball practice at his school, USC. Now, this is definitely a very serious situation. First of all, thoughts and prayers out to Bronny James and LeBron James and the family. And it's great to hear that he's not in ICU and he's doing pretty well considering the situation. Now, we have to discuss the whole elephant in the room. Now, of course, being on YouTube can't go too far in depth, and that should basically tell you a lot about this whole situation. But it should also be noted that something has to be addressed in order to discontinue a lot of the stories that's coming out with our young adults suffering from cardiac arrest. I mean, cardiac arrest is not nothing new. You all know that. But it seems apparent that is very frequently happening with a lot of the young athletes. And with Bronny James going through the situation, being a high-profile basketball player due to his father, LeBron James, probably the number one athlete in America, if not the world. Well, maybe not the world because of soccer players, but at least in America, this is definitely going to get a lot of attention. It was one thing where the situation happened with the football player, Damar Hamlin. Obviously, he doesn't have a big name, but it happened during an NFL game, and I believe it was like a Monday night or a Sunday night game. So everyone or a lot of people saw it happen live. That definitely resonated with a lot of people. At least it definitely for me, it did. And what transpired after that situation with Damar Hamlin, where we weren't getting a lot of answers a lot of questions were not being answered, and then he comes out all of a sudden just holding up the little heart sign, but you couldn't really see his face. It made people engage more into conspiracy because you're not answering our questions. Similar things happened just recently with Jamie Foxx. One minute he's sick, then his daughter says he's okay, but then you find out he's still in the hospital. Then he comes out and he says he's okay, and we're happy about that. But when things are inconsistent and you start found out to have lied about a certain situation, it's natural for people to start questioning things. The way our society is right now, where a lot of questions are not being answered, it's gonna in an honest way put a lot of people in a frenzy. We want to know what's going on, what's happening with that whole jab thing that happened a couple years ago. I personally didn't take it. I didn't see the need for it. However, some people saw the need for it and did what they had to do. And they need to be, at least updated and notified about this, because nothing in life is perfect, especially, the jab. I mean, think about it. When you watch these commercials for some type of medicine to reduce your cholesterol or whatever it may be, they disclose the side effects. I mean, granted, they say real quick, say, okay, you'll lower your cholesterol, but at the same time, you're going to have bowel movement. You may develop some type of cancer. They'll mention it. It'll be real quick, but they'll mention it. And the same thing should apply here. I mean, we can't assume that Operation Warp Speed by the Trump administration back in 2020, that, everything's going to be perfect. I mean, it was something that was unexpected at that time. And they made a vaccine to remedy the situation. We can't expect that everything's 100% perfect. So we should be able to discuss, or at least they should be able to let us know about any of the potential, side effects issues. I don't see what's conspiracy or tinfoil hat about that. It's just common sense. And I'm not trying to apply this here with Bronny James, but what I'm trying to say is that this, and just like what happened to Jamie Foxx not too long ago, it's going to continue to raise people's awareness and wonder what's going on here. I mean, just prior, it was Damar Hamlin. And just recently, there was two other incidents that happened where the singer Tori Kelly, she collapsed. And also the soccer player Shaka Hislop, he collapsed on ESPN during a telecast. So when something like this happens and you see in real time, it's natural to ask questions and to have it addressed. Now, CNN discussed briefly about what happened here in regards to Bronny James, and hear what they had to say.
Let's get right to CNN Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Sanjay, you've now seen the statement. Andy Scholes, I'm told, is with us as well. Sanjay, you've now seen this statement. Give us a sense of what you see here, what this means to you.
Well, so he's 18 years old. Sounds like he had this sudden cardiac arrest. There was a very fast, it sounds like, resuscitation, taken to the hospital. But as you point out, given the fact that he was in the intensive care unit but was then able to leave the intensive care unit and is on a general care floor, that is obviously the most important sort of headline there. Obviously, the cardiac arrest, what exactly triggered that, what caused that, that's what the doctors are going to be sort of investigating over the next several days. This is rare. We know that a few thousand people who are young athletes do suffer sudden cardiac arrests every year. There's all sorts of different reasons that can happen, electrical abnormalities of the heart. We know, for example, with Damar Hamlin, it was related to something known as cordis commotio, which is a blow to the chest wall. We don't know what happened specifically with Bronny James, but in any given year, this does happen thousands of times. Sometimes it can be a structural abnormality of the heart that was never really recognized until now. Wasn't recognized until someone actually first has a problem with it. It could be an electrical problem with the heart. Again, that was unrecognized till now. So we'll get more of those details, but again, the most important thing, thankfully, is that he appears to have been resuscitated successfully. And in terms of how doctors are looking at him now, they think that he is stable enough to not need intensive care at this point, which is also good news.
Now, Dr. Sanjay Gupta may be a credible doctor, I don't know, but due to the fact that he's on CNN, he's not going to address the quote-unquote pink elephant in the room. And this issue right here is the epitome of the term, the pink elephant. I mean, it's like right there, and we're just told to ignore it. I mean, just the fact that I can't even go further into what my opinions on the situation just tells you that, it's something that has to be addressed. We see it, we know about it, but we're told to ignore it. Simple as that. And once again, I'm not saying this is a situation that happened to him, Bronny James, that is, because if in recent history, I remember as a child, I watched a great player from the Boston Celtics, Reggie Lewis. He played, I believe, from the late 80s to early 90s, a little after Larry Bird had just retired. And he had a heart issue that he passed away from and was in real time on TV during a playoff game where he actually fell down and collapsed.
Good defense that time. All of a sudden hitting the deck is Reggie Lewis. Is he all right? Inside to Perry. He's down right now. Yeah, he's hurt. They're going to have to give a foul. They're going to have to take a... And Reggie Lewis has had all kinds of problems with his legs, but they were saying they thought he was as healthy as he had been in some time.
We'll have to see what he injured. I saw him go down. I don't know if he got a knee. But we'll have to check on that after we come back from the timeout.
So it's not too far-fetched. That is just like a regular, God forbid, a clot issue, or I think what Damar Hamlin was like, what was it called? Commotio cordis, where basically you have a issue with your heart when an impact comes to your chest. That's understandable to the degree. But for us to not be able to dig deeper and get the answers to our questions just says a lot. And I'm afraid that if they did try to open it up, it would show the incompetency and possibly also the deceptiveness that happened. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, and hopefully I am. Because I don't want to see nothing like this happen to a young man like, Bronny James or any of these young athletes or anybody regardless of age. But being a father, I can understand where LeBron's coming from, hearing that news. I experienced that to a small degree when I heard my daughter had a seizure at school one time, and we got that call and we freaked out. So I can only imagine what he's going through right now, him and his wife. That's why I say shout out thoughts and prayers. And also in conjunction with that, let's get some answers. Let's get things addressed. Don't keep the public in the dark. This is something that affects a lot of people. A lot of people did what they were told to do 2-3 years ago, and they should get the answers, their questions answered immediately, because it involves something very important. So if this is the situation here, regards to Bronny James, or regards to Jamie Foxx, or Tori Kelly, or that guy Shaka Hislop, the retired soccer player, let's have it addressed, because then people won't be held in the dark, and the fear won't continue to rise up, and the conspiracy won't continue to engulf people to start acting out crazy. But let me know. Leave a comment down below. Tell me, what do you think is going on with all these sudden cardiac arrests with our young adults? I have my ideas, my opinions. Like I said, I ain't gonna go into depth, but I would like to know if you can go a little bit deeper in the comment section. Let me know.